Hey traders, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Pow Group. Today is Friday, October 23rd, and thanks again for joining us. We're going to discuss in today's video Tesla recalling nearly 50,000 vehicles. We'll go over some news and events, and we'll discuss some charts, and we'll go over some MJ analysis as well. So stick around, make sure to hit the like, subscribe to the channel, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future daily market recaps. So stick around, we'll jump right into it. All right, welcome back. So first on the list, there was a few things I want to cover. So as the title of the video suggests, we found out today that Tesla recalled about 48,000 vehicles over in China due to suspension issues. And these were vehicles that were produced in the Fremont facility. So not a huge concern there, as I do believe that it would have been older vehicles. So it would have been a very, very concerning issue if it was in their Shanghai Gigafactory, but because it was at the Fremont, California Gigafactory, that is obviously a good sign. So definitely hurting the stock, but we'll take a look at the article here from CNBC. So Tesla recalls nearly 50,000 Model S and X over faulty suspensions. So it's basically not really taking it too big of a toll on the stock right now. We'll dive into the chart in just a minute, but I think it's more of a buying opportunity, in my opinion. I do think that with the recent earnings that were stellar, that this is just a small bump in the road, no pun intended. So let's move on from there. So we had the debate last night, the final presidential debate. I tuned into that. It was much more civil and very, very professional, in my opinion, and both sides had very good arguments. I would agree that Trump probably won last night's debate, and the fact that Biden mentioned that he was going to kill the oil industry, I think was a very, very bad move on his part. He could have structured it a little bit better, or he could have softened the blow a little bit better on what he was looking to do. I know he said over time, but Trump used that to his advantage for sure, and we saw some points being lost on his end because of that. But in my opinion, I think the debate was very, very well conducted. And one thing I had some concerns about was the healthcare from the Republican side. But again, we won't get too political. This is not the purpose of these streams. So taking a look at this, some stimulus updates as well. So one thing I did want to highlight, though, we should know, GOP strategist says about 4 days after the election, we should know who's going to be the next president. So I mentioned in my previous videos, it'd probably take a week or two. So hopefully there's some truth to that, and we should know by the weekend because of this mail-in voting. So just a quick update on the stimulus. Pelosi and Mnuchin talks drag on, so this will likely push past the election. We did see that Gilead's first virus as well, first drug to get approved by the FDA. So that was notable. And just going over a few different articles here, and I'll speed this up real quick in the essence of time. So US reports more than 71,000 new cases, and infections near record highs, and hospitalizations are rising. We also saw that a man was found carrying guns in a van with explosives, and I think about $500,000 in cash. You can see here he was planning to assassinate Joe Biden. Records say. So obviously they've caught him, and he was also accused of possessing and transmitting child pornography. So, whether or not this was a hit job, or if he just had a grudge against Biden, who knows? But I found that interesting as well. Thought I would share that with you guys. And I brought up this article, I mentioned it in my video yesterday, but the feds, so Canadian government is exploring all options right now as airlines grapple with the sickness. So I think that's why we're seeing the airline industry, Air Canada. I took a small position in Air Canada, mentioned in my video from yesterday. You can check that out. And we also saw that Mike Novogratz likes stocks and Bitcoin ahead of the election. The liquidity tsunami is just too big. So thought I'd share that with you guys. And we also saw that Trump's Twitter hacked after Dutch researcher claims he guessed his password. So whether or not you believe that, you can check out that article, but I found that pretty funny. Personally, I don't really believe it, but that's what people are saying. So take a look at that if you want to read the article in its entirety. So let's take a look at some charts. So looking at SPY, we just closed the day, but a couple minutes after hours here, we are selling off after hours. We did have a downtrend line watching. So this morning, one thing we were watching on SPY was the EMA 12 resistance on the 5-minute, and we had this downtrend line of resistance as well. So when we opened up the day, we were essentially in a 5-minute downtrend for most of the day, and about midday, that's when the scales tilted. And you can see here we were rejecting at EMA 12. We poked above here briefly, but immediately rejected and didn't set a 5-minute higher low and higher high for an uptrend. Then we continually rejected from EMA 12. Then you can see here we formed a higher low and higher high. Right there we changed the trend bullish, and then we confirmed support off EMA 12. And then we had this uptrend into the end of the day that we were riding this nice uptrend line as well. So close the day with a 5-minute uptrend. We are pulling back a little bit here after hours, but essentially just a healthy consolidation. You can see we're bouncing just below that, that support line and looking for a 5-minute higher low. So going into the weekend, it is looking like SPY is basically in the crossroads. We didn't cross the MACD bullish yet. We did close above the 10-week moving average, which is bullish. The stochastic is cross bullish. Taking a look at SPY on the daily chart, we are above the 50-day moving average. So that is a positive sign as well. But the MACD did start to bearish here on the daily. So that was notable. I think that's pretty much all I had. Also, SPY had hourly lower highs on every single candle today. So that was another signal as well. So as soon as we broke that lower high every pattern for the last 5 candles, we knew it was likely time to bounce on the hourly. So we did not form an hourly higher low though. So we did lose the hourly uptrend. We are basically just flat right now. So we're not in an uptrend, we're not in a downtrend, but if we do, most important support right now on the hourly for me is 343.15. If we lose that, we confirm an hourly downtrend. And taking a look at the weekly, could still be a weekly bull flag. Like I mentioned in my previous videos, taking a look at the daily, we did confirm a daily downtrend, but with no follow through. So that increases the odds of a weekly bull flag. But essentially, we need to, first step is to change the hourly trend bullish, and then to change the daily trend bullish and confirm that weekly bull flag. And we saw tech took a hit today. We did end with a lower wick though, and just taking a look at the hourly charts. So we didn't change the hourly trend yet. This is all a bounce from the low to the high. So we'd just be looking for an hourly higher low and higher high, or else we'll just be expecting a daily lower high as a result. But inside bar here on the daily, SPY broke that. So we're no longer in an inside bar. So SPY a little bit stronger than QQQ in my opinion. And like I said, QQQ as well, still a potential of a weekly bull flag. So keeping an eye on that into next week. Next week, we have huge earnings as well in the tech sector. So that's notable. We did close above the 10-week moving average. We did close the week a little red. We are trending down on the MACD. So I would like to see all 3 of these indicators bullish and trending up to be confident that we can see more upside here into next week. So taking a look at the daily chart for the tech sector, we are above the 50-day moving average, and the MACD is crossing bearish here into the end of the day and week. So we'll keep an eye on that as well into next week. Let's just take a look through some of the other indices. So IWM on the daily did finish green with a lower wick. So daily bounce still underway. We do have SMH, which was a lower. So Intel had reported earnings that were less than stellar. So you can see here we've had a lower high every candle for the last 6 candles. And we confirmed that descending triangle on the daily with that bear break. But bulls are buying the dip and showing some resilience there, looking to form some support off that EMA 12 support on the daily. So a little bit bearish right now in the semiconductor space. Taking a look at the dollar. So the dollar did try to bounce, basically rejected just below the EMA 12 and pulling back. So still in a daily downtrend at this point and not looking good for the dollar. A lot of experts are saying that the dollar is likely going to trend lower and it's got a lot more work ahead of itself. But you can see here that we had a low, high, higher, low, higher, high into a 4-hour uptrend and just looking for a 4-hour higher low here. So most important short-term support for me is 92.66 and then 92.85. Sorry, that was 92.66 and 92.61. Just looking at the wrong number there. So taking a look at oil, oil did see a, likely because of the debate last night, basically saying that they were going to kill the oil industry and phase it out. But we also did see inventories rose as well. So oil with a fairly bearish day. We did break the low of yesterday, which was 39.74. We had a low of 39.60. So we will look to the last daily higher low, which is 39.25, most important daily support for me. Gold pulling back still as well, basically just going sideways in this this range, in this descending triangle that I've drawn out for you guys multiple times. So you can see we still are within this pattern and it could play out for another 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. XBI, so the biotech sector, let's take a look at the daily. Closed just barely green above EMA 12 with a lower wick. So bulls bought the dip. XLE pulling back, not surprising with oil having the day that it had. XLF financial sector did pull back and closed the day red. XLRE real estate investment trust saw a little bit of green today, but tried to bounce out of the inside bar, got rejected back within that range. Healthcare sector closed red, but we did see that we got close to resistance here at 108.72 and we rejected. We got to 108.60. So could potentially be a cup and handle as well. Taking a look at TAN, the solar sector. So solar sector is pulling back. Still looking for a daily higher low on this move. So it was also looking to form a cup and handle, but we negated that. So we'll know that the daily higher low has been set once the hourly trend has been changed bullish. Have we changed that trend? No, we have not. So we have most important support right here at 71.25 and resistance at 72.93. That's pretty much all I had for you guys for the indices. Bitcoin saw a sell-off today as well with the overall market. People taking profit above 13,000. We have a daily inside bar as well. So most important support for me right now on the short term is 12,698. This is on Coinbase, and resistance 13,200. And could potentially be a daily bull flag if we do break the low of yesterday with very little follow through. Keep an eye out for a daily bull flag as well. But we haven't formed a daily higher low since all the way back here at 11,201. So lots of room for bulls to form a daily higher low when that does happen. And we also have EMA 12 support down here at the $12,020 level. So moving on from that, we do have the Tesla chart that I want to go over. So let's bring up Tesla first and foremost. So Tesla did see a nice bounce into the end of the day after that recall news. We're also seeing a lot of information or a lot of news about the electric Hummer with GM. So we're seeing a lot of competition. I think more and more people are starting to realize that there's going to be a lot more competition coming down the pipeline. And again, couple that with the recall news, and we hit a low of $407 today. But nice solid 5-minute uptrend into the end of the day. Let's take a look at the hourly. Hourly, just a solid bounce off the lows. So we haven't confirmed an hourly uptrend yet. We're looking to form, but bulls have lots of room. Can still drop another 3%. So bulls got about 3% to form that hourly higher low and higher high into next week. So again, it's going to really depend on the big tech earnings next week. That's going to dictate, I think, what's going to happen in Tesla and many other names. And of course, news could change that. But taking a look at the daily chart on Tesla. So we are in a daily downtrend now after that daily lower high and lower low. So that's notable. Let's take a look at the weekly, and we did get quite a bit of follow through. So I wouldn't consider that a weekly bull flag at this point. We do have EMA 12 support at 391 on the weekly as well. So we could potentially find some support there. Taking a look at the monthly, we do have a monthly inside bar. So we'll look to the high of 502 and the low of 329. Anything within that, we're just maintaining that monthly inside bar. See if there's anything else I can see. That's pretty much it on Tesla. Not a huge bearish reaction to that news. Again, I think the most important chart for me right now is going to be the hourly. We did have increasing bull volume as well with a little bit of lower wick there into the end of the day, and not really much change after hours. So let me know in the comments below if you think that news is bad or good for Tesla, or bad or not so bad. If you think it's just basically going to be brushed off, love to hear from you. So taking a look at CGC, I did make a CGC trade today. So I swung CGC last night and I sold it at the open. I was one of these sellers here. Huge profit taking into the beginning of the day, and SPY selling off definitely exacerbated that selling. But I sold it, and we did have support here at 1959, which I was looking out for. And I did see that we were forming a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on the 5-minute. If you take the measured move from that inverse head and shoulders, it put you right around where we topped out. So I did enter here off of that support, just basically reloaded cheaper. So I did enter off of 1961, and then I set my stop at 1949. We hit a low of 1954. So again, that just comes with experience, leaving a little bit of wiggle room. If you're not that experienced or you're new to investing, don't worry, it'll come in time. But you can also consider joining a group community such as POW Group, the Pursuit of Wealth. What we do is we're an online community. We trade stocks, crypto, and many others. You can join us for a 1-week free trial. Just go to pursuitofwealthgroup.com or powgroup.ca and come check us out. And literally all we do is we share investment ideas and strategies all day long in Slack. So we are based off of Slack. You can take a look here. We have general news. We have automatic news feeds pulled in. We have an algo alert as well for different buy and sell entries. So come and check us out for a 1-week free trial. You got nothing to lose, not even any credit card required. So I did enter on that inverse head and shoulders. I sold here once we hit that measured move. I think I sold in the at about $20. It was also $20 psychological. So I sold once we hit $20 resistance. That was good enough for me. And then you can see here that we started to form a 5-minute downtrend. So we also had this downward sloping resistance line. I was watching EMA 12 resistance as well. So once we broke above the resistance line, that was signal number 1. We also had SPY at that time starting to reverse as well. So let's just take a look at SPY on the 5-minute. So right around the same time, SPY did a complete V, basically, a complete 180 and turned the ship around. And that gave me confidence in entering CGC as well. And then once we broke above the resistance line, I entered there. And then I sold once we get to 5-minute overbought and rebought into the end of the day. I do like CGC as a swing into next week. And I'll just bring up the reason why. So first and foremost, actually, I'll bring it up here on TradingView. So we are very close to changing the monthly trend. So we do have a low, high, looking for a higher low. Most important resistance right now is 22.19, and most important support right now is 13.88. So fairly big range. We got about a 30 to 40% range within there. So we'll look to form this higher low and break through this resistance. Then our next resistance is up at 25.97. Then we have a lack resistance all the way up to 52.74. So EMA 12 also there acting as resistance, which is at 19.32. We did close above that, so that's a positive sign. Taking a look at the weekly, very bullish candle as well. A little bit of an upper wick, but overall still a fairly strong close on the weekly. and we will look to form a weekly higher low and higher high. We don't absolutely need to, but I would like to see us form that. We also have earnings coming up on November 9th. So just keep that in mind. That could be a catalyst going into that as well. So last time they kind of disappointed, but things have been trending up and getting better in terms of their cash flow and cash loss. I think they had over $1 billion loss 2 quarters ago. So we'll see if they can continue to trend up. Taking a look at CGC on the daily, we did have a daily bull flag potential, which is still intact. So this could still potentially be on the table. We do have this uptrend line here to be watching as well on the daily. And it could also be a cup and handle that we were watching, but essentially we're in a daily uptrend, looking to change the weekly trend and the monthly trend, which hasn't happened since the all-time highs. So that'll be notable when we do change the monthly trend, as we've just been in a lower high and lower low scenario ever since the highs back in 2018. So moving on to the weekly chart for CGC here on stock charts, you can see we closed well above the 10-week moving average. The stochastic is going parabolic. The MACD has crossed bullish as well. So that's a very, very bullish sign for the CGC bulls. Taking a look at the daily, so we are well above the 50, the 100, and the 200-day moving average. We did close with a inside bar on CGC as well, so that was notable. So going into next week, most important support for me is going to be the 2044 resistance, and most important support is going to be 1931 going into next week. So again, we are above 50, 100, and the 200-day moving average. MACD is going parabolic as well on the daily, and we could be setting up for a potential golden cross. You can see the 50-day is crossing toward the 100 and the 200. It is starting to form a bit of an angle here, so keeping an eye out for that golden cross potential and some hype into the election. And keep in mind that, yes, it is the US election. Yes, it is the US companies that will mostly benefit from the US legalization, but Canopy also has operations in the United States. They also have acreage, the deal through Acreage Holdings. They also have an uplisting, so they're on the US exchange, which is very, very bullish for, so since it's on the NYSE, you have all these different inflows of capital, and that's where the big boys will play. So I think because of this uplisting, yes, we'll see if legalization does happen. Yes, we could see hundreds of % in some of the US MSOs, but I do think that Canopy stands to benefit very highly as well, just because of that liquidity and because of the amount of trading volume and because of the ease of access for institutional and hedge funds. So that's all I had for CGC. So still swinging a CGC position. We are supposed to be having HEXO earnings. I did want to mention that briefly as well. So taking a look at HEXO, we closed near 77 cents, but we were supposed to have earnings today, but I haven't been able to find any confirmation of that. You can see here, TradingView says the 23rd. I found a couple of other websites that said the 23rd. Earnings Whispers said, I think November 7th or November 9th, which was a Monday. So we'll keep an eye out. I'll do a video on HEXO once the earnings are out for that. But essentially, HEXO just looking to form a daily higher low and higher high, basically here stuck here in a equilibrium, and we'll look to see which way this breaks, but did form support off EMA 12 support. Taking a look at HEXO on the weekly, we are above the 10-week moving average, just this lateral sideways movement. We do have the stochastic blasting off, the MACD still cross bullish, so we have 3 for 3 on the macro indicators. Taking a look at the daily, we are above the 50 and the 100. We are below the 200. So we got 2 out of 3 knocked off there. So if we can see a positive earnings reaction, the most important resistance is going to be 85. And then from there, very, very little resistance all the way up to $1.29. So going to be interesting to see if HEXO and Canopy are able to gain that market share from Aurora and Afria due to the disappointing earnings there from them. But if we do get over 85, that's got about a 50% upside to the recent high of $1.29 from the last earnings report. And personally, I love their products. I think there's a lot more in store for HEXO and a lot of better days ahead for the stock. Pretty heavy in HEXO right now. I've got a stop under 60 cents, and I've been accumulating since 60 cents, and I'll look to add more if we do dip. But again, just remember that earnings have not been confirmed yet, so just keep an eye out for my next video. I will do one as soon as that comes out. And in summary, we do have earnings next week. So we're going to have Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, all the big tech cap, mega cap earnings coming next week. So make sure to tune in next week for some daily market recaps. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Get lots of rest, and we shall talk to you guys next week. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Powell Group. We'll see you on the next video.